Hi everyone, I found this cool thing online and I wanted to tell people about it because I think it's really sick. I didn't really have a background for it, so I found this image on Google. I looked up music. Um, well, that's not true. I looked up music wallpaper 1080p and I found this. I think it's pretty cool. I think unfortunately it is AI because I've never seen anywhere that looks like that, really. But it's still alright, isn't it? I mean, it's okay. I didn't make it, so it's fine. And yeah, as you can see, if you're a fan of music, if you like music, you can set that as your wallpaper. And then everyone will know you've got an interesting hobby, which is, being a music fan, being someone who listens to music, which is pretty cool. But I found this thing on the internet that I think is actually really cool, which is the 1000. Well, it's based on this book. Let me start from the beginning. It's based on this book called 1001 Songs You Must Hear Before You Die. Not songs, albums. 1001 albums you must hear before you die, or something like that. And basically it's just a bunch of the most influential or iconic or most streamed albums of like the 50s to today. And it's, pretty comprehensive list. I mean, there's 1,000 albums on it, which is a hell of a lot of music. But I found this website that has got the list, has taken the list, and it randomly picks from it and gives you a new album to listen to every day until you get through the whole list. So I'm gonna put I'm gonna put a link to the website in the description. I do encourage you to check it out because it's really cool. I've been on it for about a week now, and I found some cool stuff. And to be honest, I'm someone who has a very modern taste in music. So especially over the last few years, because I've been doing sort of a personal project sort of thing where I rank every album that I listen to in each year, and that started in 2021. So I try to listen to a bunch of new albums, like new albums a year, so I can put them in my ranking and hopefully find new and promising artists. But, I've got an appreciation for the classics. I've just not got around to a lot of them. And this is a good way, I think, to cover the gaps in my knowledge that I have. So I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. It's actually a really interesting and enjoyable experience so far. For one thing, it started me off with an album. I listen to like a lot of hip hop and R&B, and some like electronic stuff. And some like indie pop, whatever. But I don't really listen to much rock in general. And it started me off with Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness by the Smashing Pumpkins, which is a 2-hour-long rock album from the 90s. So that's way outside of my comfort zone when it comes to music, and also it's 2 hours long. So I thought, fucking hell, okay, what an introduction to this potentially 3+ year journey, if you will. But I did give it a listen. I mean, full disclosure, I didn't listen to the last like 3 tracks because I listened to a lot of Smashing Pumpkins in one day then, and it was all new. I was trying to take it all in. But I did listen to it, did really enjoy it. I thought that was a really good start. But yeah, it's been giving me a few albums. I thought it was really cool. I'm really enjoying the actual experience of listening to these albums. Kind of being forced to listen to these albums, do you know what I mean? And I don't say that in a negative way, because something I've noticed, and this is only like a few days into the challenge, like a week into the challenge, is you get a few albums that are outside of your sort of area, and you're a bit like, okay, this isn't really for me. Not really feeling it, but I'm going to get through it for the sake of giving it a fair judgment, a fair assessment. And then something comes on that is unexpectedly great. And this is like from the, 70s, 80s, 90s and whatnot. So that happened today. Like, I've been listening to some sort of, recently I think I've had a couple of albums from like the 60s. And they're, they're a little bit jaunty. And the quality, like the audio quality itself, is lower. It's not as polished, not as refined as the as our modern methods is what our modern ears are used to. And then today's album, actually, is it today's album? Yesterday's album, which I'm still on, I need to catch up, is Hysteria, by Def Leppard. And I was like, ugh, great, now I've got to listen to this fucking hard rock. Well, not, you know, like arena rock. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit, like, I'm sure my dad would listen to it if I knew the guy. And I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck so much. And I listened to the first few tracks. I was like, hold on a second. This is unlike anything I've heard in the last 2 days. This is so, you know, normally my ears would be so inundated with like well-produced, finely made, refined sort of white noise, you know, the white noise of modern music, where a lot of the like mixing is done to the same standards, the same metrics, and you know, nothing has that the actual like roughness and lack of I guess you could say equipment quality that older music had. I mean, obviously some stuff does as a choice, as like an artistic choice, but I'm talking about like popular music in general. So you listen to that for a few days, you know, out of necessity to do the challenge, and you're like, whoa, you know, this is getting a bit, maybe it's getting a bit tiring on the ears. I mean, maybe some people like that, sure, but for me, like, it was getting a little bit tiring. And then this came out, I was like, holy fuck, this is revolutionary. And I can really enjoy it a lot more because I feel almost like I'm experiencing it in the context that it would actually be experienced in if you were to hear it for the first time back in the day, you know? Just because now I'm surrounded by this older music. It's refreshing to have something that breaks the mold. And, you know, there are plenty of albums on this list that will do that because it covers all sorts of genres and, like, all sorts of styles, all sorts of time periods, like I said, from the 50s to today. Although, granted, there are, it's mostly 50s to, like, 2000, because that's when the first iteration of the book came out. And then since 2000, I think they've added, like, 88 songs or something. Because I believe it's 1089 in total now, so it's not 1001. So it lies. But yeah, I just wanted to explain that because I thought that was a cool feeling that I had today. That, you know, I was really I was listening to something that was really like, whoa, you know, and because it kind of prevents me from doing what I would normally do, which is just go and listen to something that I know I like, you know, stay in my comfort zone. It's just really refreshing when something comes along like that and surprises you and defies your expectations, and you enjoy it more because you're not sort of getting this instant gratification from your music, you know, while you're listening to these albums, because sometimes you might like them, you might not like them. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty neat, and I think it's a good way, you know, if you're like me and you don't really listen to much older stuff very often, or maybe you weren't raised in like a musical household, which I wasn't, and you don't get to hear this kind of stuff, or you're not familiar with a lot of the like classics and things like that, or if you just, I don't know, if you just like want to give it a go, I just wanted to talk about it and recommend it because I thought it was pretty cool. All right, now that I've done all that, I want to let me tell you about some of the stuff that I've heard already. So let's see. I've got a little playlist I'm doing of my favorite songs from each album. So, you know, in 3 years' time, hopefully that's going to be long as fuck. Right now it's 36 songs. Yeah, I'll need to add more from this Def Leppard album, but yeah, okay. So the albums I've listened to so far. And I actually think there might be one album that I didn't add any songs to my favorites from. But I'm not sure what that was. But we've got Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, Low by David Bowie. I've never listened to a David Bowie album before. But I thought that was interesting, that one. I mean, I'm interested to hear more of his stuff, and I know he's got quite a few albums on this list, so I will be hearing more eventually. But yeah, I'm just hoping it's I don't know, more impressive. I know, like, I'm sure Low has its fans and stuff, but yeah, I wasn't massively feeling it, but I'm, you know, that's the kind of the point of the challenge. You hear things you don't like so much, and then you hear stuff maybe you thought you wouldn't like, but you do like it. I listened to There's No Place Like America Today by Curtis Mayfield. Wow, that was a banger. That's my favorite one so far. And I've been obsessed with the song Blue Monday People from that album, so check that out. That's really good. Doolittle by Pixies, that is also one of my favorites that I've heard so far because it's just a great album. I already like it, I already know it. Had to listen to 21 by Adele, which, to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of so much. It never occurred to me before that Rolling in the Deep actually is stomp clap music, but it is. It actually is. It's just missing the hey. It's got no hey. So it's not stomp clap hey, but it's still stomp clap music. But I liked He Won't Go from Adele's album 21, and I've not it's not one I'd heard before, you know? It wasn't like a radio hit or anything, I don't think. So it's still interesting to you know, hear stuff even if you don't think you'll like it. Give it a go. Listen to If You Can Believe Your Eyes and Ears by the Mamas and the Papas, and then Unhalf Bricking by Fairport Convention. They were both okay. Machine Head by Deep Purple I listened to. Oh, I wasn't really feeling that one much at all. I really liked the first track, Highway Star. I thought that was really cool, but the rest of it wasn't doing much for me. And I listened to Oxygen by Jean-Michel Jarre. I don't know how to say that. And it was annoying actually, because I saw that this was my album today, but I didn't have a chance to listen to it yet. And we went out to the market for a bite to eat. I know. And we found out that they were doing a record fair there, and in one of the flipping bargain boxes, someone had about 50 copies of this album, and I was like, shit, you know, I'd like to, I'm interested, but I don't know if I should buy it, because I've got it today, but I've not listened to it yet, so that was a bit of a pain. But I think I did well to save my money, even though I did enjoy the album a lot. And then yeah, today I've had Hysteria, and that's been really cool so far, about halfway through. So yeah. Anyway, whatever. Go check it out. It's a cool website. All right. Peace.